Hi, I'm Cole.
And I'm Grace. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We pull apart complex topics and try to give you the core insights fast.
Make you instantly informed.
Exactly. And today we're diving into something pretty fundamental, really. This question: what if the human mind, consciousness, creativity, all that complexity, what if it's actually understandable? Like a machine, maybe even one we could replicate.
It's a huge question. And there was this one figure, a real pioneer, who didn't just believe it. He really built the foundations for artificial intelligence based on that idea.
We're talking specifically about symbolic AI here, right? The approach using symbols, logic.
Precisely. That was his domain.
Yeah.
And the visionary we're talking about is, of course, Marvin Minsky.
Right. So for this deep dive, it's part of our AI Visionaries, the Founder series. We're going to explore Minsky's work. He co-founded the MIT AI Lab, which is just legendary.
Absolutely. And our mission, really, is to unpack his, revolutionary frames concept and also his huge, ambitious vision, the Society of Mind.
We want you to see how his thinking really shaped AI in the early days and how it's actually still relevant today. It continues to influence how we think about intelligence.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. We'll get into his optimism, too, and why these theories have stuck around.
And where are we getting this from?
Good question. We're leaning heavily on Minsky's own writing, his big 1974 paper, A Framework for Representing Knowledge, and definitely his book, The Society of Mind.
Seminal stuff.
Totally. Plus, we've looked into insights from AI historians, MIT archives, just trying to get that full picture for you.
Okay, great. So Marvin Lee Minsky, born 1927, an architect of mind machines, you could say. He was this brilliant mathematician, computer scientist.
Visionary from the get-go.
Yeah. And his role in founding AI is just massive. You mentioned the MIT AI Lab. He co-founded the original MIT Artificial Intelligence Project back in 1956 with John McCarthy.
Imagine being there then. And that project grew into the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, CSAL, that we know today.
And as if that wasn't enough.
Right. He later co-founds the MIT Media Lab in '85. He was just deeply woven into creating these places where AI research exploded.
And it wasn't just ideas and institutions. He built things early on, too.
He really did. He was hands-on.
Yeah.
Like in 1951, he built Symbolic. That was the first randomly wired neural network learning machine.
Wow, 1951. That's way before deep learning was even a phrase.
Ages before. A true pioneer in neural nets. And then his inventiveness went beyond computing.
Like the microscope.
Yeah, the confocal microscope.
Yeah.
In 1957, it's a precursor to the confocal laser scanning microscopes that are, standard equipment now.
That's incredible range.
But he was fascinated by the fundamentals, too. He worked on small universal Turing machines, published 1 in 62, a 7-state, 4-symbol machine, just exploring the limits of what computation is.
It feels like his influence seeped into culture, too. The whole 2001 A Space Odyssey connection is wild.
Isn't it? He was an advisor on Kubrick's film, and they even named a character Victor Kaminsky after him. Yeah. And Arthur C. Clarke, in the novel 2001, explicitly credits Minsky with a breakthrough in the 80s that basically paved the way for HAL 9000.
That's some serious sci-fi cred. It shows how forward-thinking people thought he was, even then.
Definitely. And the formal recognition followed, of course. Major awards.
Right, the Turing Award in '69, that's like the Nobel Prize for computing.
Huge. And the Japan Prize in 1990, the Benjamin Franklin Medal in 2001. It just underscores the immense impact he had. People recognize his contributions across the board.
He was just this force, wasn't he? Always pushing what we thought was possible.
Absolutely. A true force of nature in the field.
Okay, so we've seen his breadth. The inventions, the institutions. Let's zoom in now on maybe his biggest intellectual contributions, certainly for how AI represents knowledge. The frames concept.
Frames, yes. This was a genuine game changer in the mid-'70s.
How did he define it? It was something like a structure for stereotypes.
Pretty much. He called it a data structure for representing a stereotype situation. The key idea is it's a remembered framework that you adapt to fit reality. You change the details as you need to.
Okay, so it's like how our own minds work.
Exactly. That's the power of it. Think about walking into a living room. Your mind doesn't just see random furniture. It activates a living room frame.
And you expect certain things. A sofa, maybe a TV.
Right. Those are the default assignments in the frame. Like a ball in a frame might have a default size or color, but if you see a giant purple ball, your mind just slots that specific detail in, replacing the default. It's efficient.
So the frame holds defaults, but also what else?
Crucially, it holds info on how to use the frame, what else to expect, and even what to do if things don't match your expectations. It's dynamic.
So it's more than just labeling things. It's about prediction and reaction.
Definitely. And he didn't stop at single frames. He talked about frame systems.
Okay, what are those?
Collections of related frames, linked together by transformations. Think about looking at a cube. As you walk around it, you're not reanalyzing the whole thing every second.
Right, your mind just kind of shifts the view.
Exactly. You're transforming between different views within a cube frame system. It lets you process visual scenes or moving through a room incredibly efficiently without starting from scratch constantly.
And this applies to language, too. That seems like a big leap.
A huge leap. Minsky argued that when we understand language, we're assembling networks of frames. Sentences activate bigger theme frames or story frames.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Remember the old fable, The Wolf and the Lamb? To get why the wolf is lying when he says the lamb is dirtying the water even though the wolf is upstream?
You need to know water flows downhill.
Precisely. That common sense knowledge about river flow isn't explicit in the words. It's part of the frame system you activate. Or think about a story where Jane shakes her piggy bank and it made no sound.
Ah, so you instantly know it's empty. Because you have frames about piggy banks, money, presents.
Right. It's not just grammar. It's activating these rich knowledge structures.
That also seems to explain why we can understand sentences that aren't perfectly grammatical.
Yes. Minsky called it the soft nature of grammar. If little pieces, phrases, clauses fit reasonably well into subframes, you can build up an understanding, an image, even if the overall sentence structure is a bit messy.
Unlike just nonsense words.
Exactly. That famous example, furiously sleep ideas,
Right.
green, colorless.
Yeah.
It doesn't activate much. No subframes click into place, so you don't get anywhere meaningful. Our brains seem wired to find those meaning chunks.
This focus on meaning and context. It sounds like it put him at odds with some other AI approaches at the time, like those focused purely on logic.
Very much so. He was quite critical of relying only on traditional logic. He argued it just cannot deal very well with realistic, complicated problems.
Why not? Too rigid.
Too rigid, yeah.
Yeah.
And bad at handling approximations, which is
Yeah.
how we reason most of the time, right? Common sense is flexible, dynamic. Formal logic often isn't.
He had that quote about consistency being destructive.
Oh yeah, that was a zinger. He believed the preoccupation with consistency has been incredibly destructive to AI progress.
Why destructive?
Because, he felt, it stopped people from building systems that could, well, mess up and learn from it. Systems that could handle paradoxes, which, let's face it, the real world is full of.
He wanted AI to be more human-like in its imperfections.
Kind of. More resilient, more resourceful. Humans aren't perfectly consistent logical machines. We make mistakes, we run into contradictions, and we adapt. That's intelligence. He wanted more direct ways for linking fragments of knowledge to advice about how they are to be used, not just facts and rules kept separate.
So, frames wasn't just a data structure, it was a whole new way of thinking about AI knowledge.
It really was a paradigm shift. Before frames, lots of AI struggled with context, with common sense. Everything was sort of isolated data points. Frames let machines anticipate, adapt, move towards something more like intuition.
And you're saying this is still relevant, even with modern AI, like large language models?
Absolutely. The core ideas are still influential. How LLMs predict the next word, how recommendation systems figure out what you like, underlying it's pattern recognition, filling in blanks based on context.
Right.
Ideas with roots right back in frame theory. It's definitely still in wide use.
Okay, that sets us up perfectly for his next really big idea, the one he developed with Seymour Papert, the Society of Mind.
Ah, yes. If frames was about structuring knowledge, Society of Mind was about structuring intelligence itself. It's incredibly ambitious.
That's the whole idea that intelligence isn't one thing.
Exactly. It's not some single magical spark.
Yeah.
Instead, Minsky and Papert proposed that intelligence emerges from the interaction of lots of simple, non-intelligent parts or agents.
Like a society.
Precisely. He apparently got a lot of inspiration trying to build a robot arm that could build with kids' blocks.
Really? How so?
Well, he realized that even a seemingly simple task like picking up a block breaks down into many, many smaller subtasks and coordinations. Vision, grasping, moving, all interacting. It suggested intelligence arises from these simpler components working together.
Intelligence from non-intelligence. That's a powerful thought.
It is. And he proposed mechanisms for how this society works, like K-lines.
K-lines, what are those?
Okay, imagine your mind is like this. Bustling city of tiny specialist agents. When you have a breakthrough, solve a tricky problem. A K-line acts like an instant connection, linking up all the specific agents that were active in that aha moment.
So it's like a memory trace.
Yeah, exactly. A memory trace that helps you reactivate that successful combination of agents next time you face something similar. It's how the society remembers good ideas.
And who runs the city?
Ah, that's where metal managers come in. They're like the city planners. They don't do the basic jobs, but they reorganize things, find better ways to use the agents you already have. They represent new administrative ways to use what one already knows. That's how real mental growth happens in the model.
That's a great analogy. It makes it much more concrete. Now, Minsky had some, let's say, provocative views that fit into this model, right? Especially about consciousness.
Oh, definitely. His famous idea of consciousness as a suitcase word.
Meaning?
Meaning it's not one pure thing. It's just a convenient label we slap onto a whole jumble of different processes happening under the hood, maybe 40 or 50 different interacting mechanisms, he suggested.
So no single seat of consciousness.
Nope. He strongly argued against dualism, the idea of mind and body being separate. For Minsky, subjective feelings, qualia, all that stuff, it arises directly from brain processes. It is the brain processes, arranged in certain ways. He thought trying to treat feeling as some separate entity was just a philosophical mistake.
It's a very materialist view, almost demystifying.
Completely. And he extended that to emotions, too. He saw emotions not as separate forces, but as simply different types of thinking.
Different types of thinking. How?
Well, he described them as different arrangements or dispositions of mental resources. So fear isn't some mystical force. It's a state where your mental agents are biased, your goal selection agents prioritize avoidance, your perception agents might be hyper-alert to threats.
And hunger would prioritize food-finding agents.
Exactly. It's all about how the society configures its resources based on the situation.
He also talked about resourcefulness, right? How we adapt.
Yes. He attributed our amazing ability to find workarounds, to think about things differently when stuck, to the brain's wealth of alternative representations.
Meaning?
Think about a telephone. You can represent it by its shape, its function, calling someone, the goal it serves, connecting people. Your brain holds multiple views or frames for the same thing. This variety lets you switch perspectives and be resourceful. He felt this countered what he called physics envy in psychology.
Physics envy.
Yeah, the tendency to try and explain complex things like the mind with just a few simple, elegant laws like in physics.
Yeah.
Minsky thought the mind was inherently complex, messy, redundant, and that's where its power comes from.
How did learning fit into this society of mind, especially learning big new goals?
He talked about different kinds. There's predestined learning. For stuff pretty much all humans learn, walking, talking, the basic setup and environment, kind of guarantee it. But then there's learning from attachment figures. This is how we pick up higher-level values. Think about pride or shame. A child feels pride when praised by a parent or someone they're attached to, shame when scolded. This links actions to strong feelings, establishing new goals and guiding future behavior. It builds complexity upwards.
This focus on meaning, context, common sense. It explains his famous disagreements with Noam Chomsky, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Minsky was very critical of Chomsky's intense focus on syntax, on grammar rules, often seemingly separate from meaning. Minsky felt this focus actually held back progress in areas like machine translation.
Because translation needs more than just grammar rules.
Needs world knowledge, common sense, understanding the concepts being discussed. Minsky thought Chomsky's approach neglected this crucial semantic layer. He was also skeptical about the idea of a universal grammar in the way Chomsky originally framed it.
And this ties back to his view on computers.
Right. Minsky famously argued that hardware is not the limiting factor for building an intelligent computer. It wasn't about needing faster chips, necessarily.
It was the software.
Yes, it's the software. Having the right software for representing and organizing knowledge. For Minsky, cracking the structure of knowledge, building those frame systems, nurturing that society of mind that was the real bottleneck, the key to AI. The organization was paramount.
Looking back, Marvin Minsky's legacy is just immense, isn't it? A truly foundational thinker.
Incredible. He really tried to pull back the curtain on the mind, show how all that complexity we experience could emerge from simpler, interacting parts.
His optimism was infectious, too. This core belief that the mind is a machine, something we can understand and maybe even build, not some sacred mystery.
That belief drove so much of early AI research. And honestly, it still guides efforts today. He just kept pushing the boundaries, always believing we could understand thinking by trying to build it.
It leaves us with some pretty deep questions to ponder, though.
Definitely.
If our minds really are this society of non-intelligent agents and consciousness is just a suitcase word for a bunch of interacting bits, what does that actually mean for our sense of self, our identity?
Right. And think about AI now. It's getting better at refining its own frames, building more complex societies. What happens to our self-understanding when, as Minsky hoped, we can finally truly look inside an intelligent machine and see how it works?
When we can introspect on machine intelligence, will that change how we see ourselves?
What new questions will pop up then? About what it even means to think or to be. It's a lot to think about.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps us grow. See you next time.